flower friends, my name's Emily and this is our very first video for the Free State Flora YouTube channel. Today we're going to be building a really awesome grassy arrangement. If you purchased the kit from us for Thanksgiving, then I'm really excited. If you didn't, that's okay too, because you can also follow along and use your own materials and use this as a reference. So to start with, I just want to talk about some of the things that you have. I sent you with a piece of foam. This is going to be a desert foam. What I have right here is actually a wet foam. That's okay, no big difference there. And then we'll also include a little dish for you. The foam can sit right in there. If you have tape to tape it down, that's awesome. If not, that's okay too. No big concerns there. We also have some moss that we're going to start with today, some beautiful pampas grass, and then some of our very favorite local dock. Some things that you might want to have at home would be a pair of snippers and a sharp knife. To start with, what I'm going to do is I'm going to trim this down a little bit so that it isn't quite as square looking. It will make it easier to cover this foam so that we don't see it later. So I'm going to start by just taking the corners off. There we go. It doesn't have to be perfect. We're making something natural, and in nature, things are not always absolutely perfect for us, which is usually how you know that things are real and not fake. Because when things are fake, they're usually all uniform and they don't look as good. So now that I have this trimmed down a little bit, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this little handful of moss and I'm going to cover the arrangement, just kind of fill in some of the gaps. It doesn't need to be secured on here because as we start poking things in, it's going to really adhere to the foam. You can already see that I'm making a mess. I recommend that you set up somewhere like a kitchen area where you can clean up easily, especially when it comes to working with this foam. Okay, so we're going to start by constructing the shape of our design. I want to talk about that real quick. If you intend for this to sit on a dining room table, you may not want it to be super tall. You may prefer it to be a little bit more low. So think about how tall you want it first, and then we want to consider the shape. Again, just going back to natural growth of things, a plant or a little grassy plume is going to go straight up in the air, and then everybody on the outside is going to come out and up to try to get up to the sun. That's just naturally what happens. So a lot of times you're going to see kind of a teardrop shape to your designs, or just out in nature. Grasses are going to come out and up, and it's going to create this really lovely natural shape. So to start with, what we're going to do is I'm going to take one of these pieces of pampas, shake it out a little bit, woo, and I'm going to break it. I'm going to show you how I break it. I can find a natural gap here in this pampas. I can see the stem here. I'm going to snap that off. There we go. You can cut it if you prefer, no big deal. I like this nice tip. I'm probably going to use that in the middle. Now I have this other piece here. Ooh, look at that. I found another spot really easy that I can take it apart. Again, you can see this natural break. I'm going to snap it off. I may break this down even further because it really is quite tall. There we go. So I have 3 nice pieces here. I feel really tempted to break this one again just because it's so big. And I really want to use this nice end to be the tallest piece because it's just going to be pretty that way. And these can all be accompanying pieces. You can kind of see that they have that natural outward growth happening there too. So I want to take advantage of that. I don't want to work against my flowers. I want them to work with me, or me work with what they're doing already. So we're going to determine our shape first. I'm going to take one here right in the middle, and that's going to establish my height line. And from there, everything should come kind of out and up. Like I said, this one kind of has that natural thing happening with it that I really like already. It's just a little bit tall, so I'm going to snap that off, and I'm just going to set it aside. I don't want to throw it away. We can use our scraps just all over the place. I want to start looking at it this direction and build my form, and then I'm going to turn it and do the same thing on the other side. So I want these two to kind of mirror each other. It doesn't have to be perfect again. This one's maybe a little bit tall. I think I'm going to find again another place where it naturally breaks off, snap it off, set it to the side. Here we go. Okay, so I'm creating that diamond type shape, teardrop shape. Now I'm going to turn it so that it's facing me, and I can do that same thing again. It is really hard to determine shape looking across. We have the tendency to try to do that, to put things in from a different angle. It's really good to just turn your arrangement so that you can see what's happening on all sides. Okay, I'm going to take my other piece here, snap that off. So easy to break these things up. Ooh, I've got several little pieces. I'm going to actually cluster these together here, and I'm going to do the same thing. Break this one, set it off to the side. I'm going to cut this so it's at an angle. You don't really need very much stem going in your foam here. The more stem that sticks in, the harder it is to get other elements in later. So you really want to take it about as short as you can while still supporting the piece. Okay, so I'm going to take this little guy. Am I creating a nice shape here? I think it's working. I think it's looking natural. I'm going to give it a little spin. You can definitely see that this side is getting longer than the other. That's okay. We're going to work with that. I'm going to come in here, just kind of build up, make it a little taller. I want to bring this down just a little bit, so I'll take my extra little scrap there. Excellent, so we've got kind of a teardrop-ish shape here. Now I can always take this taller with another element later. It is a little bit off right now, so I'll build up here soon. All right, I'm gonna take another piece of this pampas, and again, I'm gonna break it off, just like we did a little bit ago. Look at it float. Pampas, it is the hottest thing. It is also the husky of the plant world. So, break these up a little more. I'm going to turn it to the side. I've got a really long piece over here. It's feeling pretty heavy, so I'm going to just kind of counterbalance that one on this side. Let's turn it again because I have a spot that needs to be filled in here. And I can't emphasize this enough, keep turning your arrangement. Even if you don't have a little lazy Susan or turntable like this, keep moving it, keep turning it. Otherwise, you're gonna get to the end and you're gonna realize that you have one side that's really flat. So it's just good practice to just keep moving it around. It's getting a little long there. I'm gonna break this one again. These are some nice, lush, long pieces. That's fabulous. If I was making a really big thing, I would be super happy. There we go. So we're getting kind of a nice little shape happening there. All right, so I'm gonna set my pampas to the side. Wipe this down. Everyone's gonna hate me for making such a mess, but that's okay. We're making beautiful things. Sometimes you have to make a mess to make beautiful things. Okay, now I mentioned this dock that I have. It is really nice. It's pretty green gold right now. It's from earlier in the season. I just love this stuff. I usually pick the little green leaves off. And it's gonna break up kind of like the pampas did. You can see that there's some nice gaps here where I can just snap this off, and I still have a little piece to use later. And I'm just gonna set those aside. I'm gonna use these to fill in between the pampas. Just make this look that much fuller. I'm gonna hit this mid height here, right in between. Got another piece here. It's a little bit long. I don't know if this is really much worth saving, but you never know. Okay, I'm gonna come in on the other side here. Get that one in. It's nice. I'm gonna turn it again. Okay, so I'm gonna use both of these. And I'm gonna poke them down in there. Get that grass off. All right. So again, I'm just gonna turn this, make sure we're looking even. You can definitely see that I have some empty space down here at the bottom, and we definitely wanna fill that up. So I'm gonna look for one of my sides where the dock is maybe a little bit lighter. I'm thinking right in this area, and I'm just gonna use this to come straight out and create that outward movement that's gonna come up. Got a couple little pieces here, so I'm gonna go ahead and fill that in. There we go. Just a few. Okay, very nice. All right. One more piece of dock here. There we go. That's getting a nice shape to it. Trash out of the way. Okay. All right, so we have a nice little shape forming up here. It's looking pretty natural. I think some of these pieces are maybe a little long, but I'm gonna address that here in just a little bit. I'm gonna pull some of our fun little grasses out. They're pretty and natural looking, very light. I'm also going to use some of this really pretty sun-bleached boxwood. It's not quite as natural as you might normally see in just in a prairie scene, but I feel like it has this really nice gold color to it. So I am going to break it into little pieces and utilize those because I do love the curvature of it. It just works really well for enhancing the shape of our design. The little hooks on the end here, I want to be sure to trim these off because you just don't need them there and they kind of ruin the foam and just ruin the stability of it. Okay, so I'm going to bring a couple of these in about here-ish to really help bring home that shape. Filling in any holes here. Hold on to that dish. Turn it again, break it apart, trim it. This darker piece of dock is really commanding a lot of attention, so I really want to try to balance that one out somehow. Let's see here, let me turn this baby and bring it in here. Really like the texture that's happening here with these. Filling in around the bottom here. I've got a lot of little scraps to do that with. It's a nice long piece. Again, trim that bottom. I'm going to use it to just emphasize the shape. That's working. Okay, let's turn it again. I can't see a lot on this side. I'm gonna pull this little piece. I don't like that. No shame in pulling a piece out. Kind of missing something here. Use this one over here to lift. Give him a friend. Okay. All right. So let me set my little boxwood scraps aside here. Again, another local favorite here, these gorgeous little grasses, this natural grass. I'm going to trim this. You can always trim your pieces shorter. It's better to leave them a little longer and then take them down short later. Okay, so I want this to emphasize the height here. You can see it has that natural growth pattern to it. Kind of a skimpy little guy. There we go, getting some nice height there. Too tall, at least from that spot. So I'm going to bring it in closer to my centerpiece. And I'm going to grab another little piece of grass. You should have 5 here. And I'm going to bring it in to fill in that other spot there. I'm going to give it a little floofers, see if that helps. I'll bet. There's a little more texture for sure. Okay. Now at this point, I'm kind of missing some pampas here. Turn this around. I think that I'd like to see a little more pampas come into the picture, so I'm gonna grab some more of that. Bring that in for height. Okay, so where am I missing pieces? Give it a little spin and see where would you maybe like to see some more pampas. I definitely see a spot here. Just need it to be a little bit fuller, a little more height in this mid zone. That's perfect. Okay, I'm gonna match that over here as well. It's definitely gonna make it feel like these grass heads are coming from a plant area where maybe there would normally be leaves. In this case, we're looking at other grass heads, but it's kind of hard to tell with pampas because it is so thick. Filling in. Ooh, that's looking good. I'm missing some right in here. There we go. Overall, we have quite a cream palette here, but I love how we're mixing in some of these earth tones. They're just coming in gorgeous. Keep turning, keep looking. Where am I missing things? Where is this not even? Use your little pieces to fill in there. There you go. got just a little left here. I'm gonna use that for sure. No scraps left behind. Okay. Ooh, that's looking cool. Okay. Let's pull out some of the wildflowers that we have. I suppose they're not all truly wild, but we've got quite a few. You will for sure be getting some of this white yarrow in your kit, and there's a good chance that you'll be getting some white statice, but we might be subbing in some other really pretty little flowers in this department as well. You're also gonna get some really cute little bunny tails. These came from our friends over at Grace Gardens. They are locally grown, which I just absolutely love. We try to use as much of that product as we possibly can. I'm saving these little bunnies until the end because they're just so cute and dainty. We really want to put them somewhere at the very end so that they don't get hidden by other things. We want to be sure that we see them. Okay, so I'm evaluating. Where would I like to see some flowers poked in? I want to show you some spots where I have some natural holes. Right here would be a great place for some flowers to naturally live. Maybe tucked down in and then coming up just a little bit. Another great spot right in here, up in here. Anywhere that you kind of have a little pocket. Now, you're probably looking at this and saying, Emily, you have a bunch of space down here that needs to be filled. I promise I have a plan for that here at the end. Let's get our fun flowers in next. Mostly because I like to skip ahead to the fun part. Okay. I have 5 of these, and I'm gonna find 5 good spots for them to go. Let's see, let me turn it back to the area that I was just talking about. This is a great one right here. You can see where this grass piece comes up. I don't really love that, so I want to fill that area in a little bit. And I'm putting it in at an angle. It's naturally growing at an angle. There it is right there. So cute. I've got a nice little one. I'm going to hold on to that one for a minute. I like to use these thicker pieces in the areas that need a little bit more filling. Let's see, there's one there. Let's do one in here. Again, I found a good spot. I'm going to turn it so that I can see it from the side and make sure that I'm getting it at the right height, at the right angle. I'm going to take off some of these little lower pieces. We'll use those in a minute. Not too many though, because like I said, I do like to have these thick. Okay. And again, I've got another cute little spot here. I'm going to turn that to the side. It's a little too long, I can already tell, so I'm going to go shorter. There we go. Fitting in beautifully right there. I've got a nice little low spot here, so I'm going to take this guy and I'm going to fill him in there. Beautiful. I had thought about sticking this one up high. I think I'm going to do that, and I'm going to use one of my other little wildflowers to fill in a little lower. Just really show that off. These yarrows smelled so lovely when they were being cut, and you can still just barely smell it. It's almost a honey type scent. It's really enjoyable, in my opinion. It's a little too tall. Come back in and try that again. There we go. Whoop. Come on now. Okay, that's kind of fun up there. I like that. I think we're getting some really nice movement here. Next, I'm going to bring out my statice. I'm going to trim off some of these lower pieces so that I can use those here in a few minutes. Ooh, be careful. Dried flowers, though they are durable and they last quite a long time, the more that they're touched and handled, the more likely that they are to break. So you really want to be gentle with them if you can. if you treat these flowers right as you're working with them, and then, you know, when they're in your home being enjoyed, if you don't touch them much, gosh, you could have this until next Thanksgiving if you really want it to stick around that long. People always ask, how long are these gonna last? And usually my answer is until you're sick of it. So there's a lot of value here in these dried flower arrangements. Okay, so again, I feel like I'm kind of bare over here in this lower department, kind of analyzing where I'm missing things. I'm gonna come in here, see where it falls in the scheme of shapes. And I've decided I officially think that this is too long. I'm ready to trim it up a little bit. I'm gonna find that bare spot and just come in just slightly. What you don't wanna do is just lob it off. Don't do that. It will not look natural. Think of it as a haircut. Okay. All right, so I've got a few of those in. And let's see here. I'm gonna play around with my scraps here for these smaller, lower spots. I'm gonna step back and get down kind of low and really analyze what's missing, where are there holes. I'm gonna use these flowers to fill in there. Did that work? Sort of. All right. Bunny tails, I'm gonna set them aside a little further. Ooh, look at this, I have another piece, lucky day. All right, got a hole right there. I'm gonna turn it. Look at it there from the side. Excellent, wonderful. All right. Oh, look at that, another one, yay! I love it when I have extra flowers. Bring it in here so it can be seen. Okay, so I have these little pieces of preserved podocarpus. They're really cute, they kind of remind me of an herb. I brought these ones in because I think that they're gonna make a really nice finish to this arrangement. It's a nice sagey earth tone kind of color. So these are actually gonna go in down low. What I'm gonna do is start by just getting down on the level of my arrangement, and I'm going to be putting it in. Just hide any of that foam that I can see. Hide the tray if you really don't want to see that tray. Be sure that you're putting these in nice and low and almost at a downward angle. There we go. And I'm going to use it to really balance out what I'm seeing on the other side, which is really long pampas. Just work our way around here. There we go. Now, after I put those pieces in, I'm realizing I still have a couple more holes that I'd like to fill down here. I'm gonna end up using a couple of extra pieces of this sun-bleached boxwood to fill that in. And when I put those in, I'm actually gonna try to pair them up with a friend. So this one was here already, and then I put this one in. And it's a natural growth thing, things that one plant will grow in one area, another plant will grow in another. So it looks natural when we pair them up into groups. So again, I'm just gonna get down low. Again, you know, if this is gonna sit on your table or up on a fireplace mantle, be careful doing that. You wanna try to get down to the level of where is this gonna be viewed? Is it gonna be up high? Will it be down low on the ground. Think about that, because you know, as we're designing and standing over it, it looks different than when we move it up high. We want to be sure that we're really looking at all the angles and possibilities of where other people are going to be viewing this. So if it's from a sitting down position, sit down, set it on your table, look at it. It does not hurt to step away or to change angles. It's a good thing to do that. How do I feel about my shape? Okay, so here's something that I'm thinking right now, just looking at this. It feels really heavy right here, especially compared to the other side. I've got lots of thin little wispy pieces. This chunk of pampas, though beautiful, is really taking up a lot of real estate and a lot of visual attention. So I'm actually going to take this one down a little, take a little piece off, and I'm gonna fill it in. Lay that out. I can see a little hole there. We're just going to take some height off of it, really, so that it just doesn't look quite as heavy and full in that spot. And it gives me a couple of extra little pieces to play with and fill in any other spots that I might have missed. All right. I think this is looking really cool. All right. Okay. So I saved a couple of treats for the very end here. I'm gonna evaluate based on what I'm looking at right now. This side could use a little bit more interest, so I'm actually gonna bring this really cute little sea oat in. You can actually see that natural curve that I was talking about in this plant. When I hold it up straight, it bends back. That's because it's growing out this way, naturally, from the ground. So I want to take advantage of that. I don't know that I necessarily want it quite this tall, so I'm going to bring it down just a little. And I'm going to fill it in here, because it's just so cute. Not quite the right angle there. Here we go. Oh, that's fun. Okay, and I've got one more tall piece of grass that I want to use. Again, you can see that natural growth. I just think it's really neat to work with nature and not try to fight it all the time. So I kind of think that just for funsies, I'm gonna put one in that's kind of tall. Let's see, it's gonna go in here. Take it down just a little. How pretty is that? Oh, love it. Okay, and as I mentioned, we saved these little bunny tails for last because they're just so cute. Again, they're doing that same thing where they're growing out and up, so I'm gonna take advantage of that, and I am going to use them to fill in a little bit of height interest here, just something extra to look at in our design. Oh, that's adorable. And I think that I'm gonna pair these up a little bit. I think I'm gonna do a couple together, coming out from the same spot, but at different angles, so they're just filling a little bit of different visual space. Yes, there we go. So I have 3 lined up here. They're so cute together. I'm gonna leave this one solo, I think. It's kind of helping to balance out these points. And I'm gonna work on the other side of this one, and I'm gonna fill in this area right in here. with my last two little bunnies. Okay. All right. Okay, so I've given this design a final look. I feel really happy with it. I think that it's nice and light and airy and very natural looking, which is what I like to go for. I think that this will make a lovely centerpiece. It will be a beautiful thing that you can have with you all through winter. If you're having any trouble with your design, please feel free to leave a comment and let us know what that problem is. Maybe other people are having that problem too, so you never know. It's always good to ask. If you liked this video, please feel free to subscribe to our channel, which is brand new. We're really excited about that. We'll be releasing more videos over time, hopefully doing more kits like this. I think this is a really good way to engage with flowers and natural things in a really relaxing way, which is good for people right now. I know that I need it. I hate sitting at the computer for a week at a time and not getting to do any design work because you know, I miss it. It's so good for me to do this. And if you enjoyed this kit, if you enjoyed this video, leave a like, leave a comment, subscribe, let us know. We really appreciate it. Thanks. Griffin.